In the quiet corridors of your deepest awareness, a profound message has found its way to you. It whispers of a truth long sought, a fundamental connection that many glimpse, but few truly grasp. Quantum entanglement. Perhaps you've felt its magnetic pull, that undeniable urge to bridge vast distances of space and time, to touch the threads of destiny woven between souls and opportunities. Yet, for 99% of those who chase this elusive phenomenon, the journey ends in frustration, yielding only random, inconsistent echoes of what could be. But you, dear seeker, are different. You stand among the rare 1% whose consciousness has ascended, poised to shatter these limitations forever. The journey to true connection is often paved with unseen obstacles, and the greatest among them is not an external force, but a fatal mistake, a deeply ingrained pattern that doesn't merely hinder your mastery of quantum entanglement. It actively generates interference, repelling the very connections your soul yearns to establish. Think back to those moments when a breakthrough felt tantalizingly close, when perfect synchronicity seemed just beyond your fingertips, or when you almost touched that person, opportunity, or outcome across impossible distances. Each of those near misses, each flicker of hope that didn't fully ignite, was a whisper of this mistake sabotaging your quantum field, creating a dissonance that pushed away what you were striving to draw near. Yet there is an extraordinary significance to this very moment. The fact that these words resonate with you now, at this precise instant, signifies a profound evolution within your consciousness. You have transcended the vibrational frequency where this age-old error can continue its silent sabotage. Your quantum field, once clouded by static, is now poised for purification, ready to shed the interference pattern that has limited your entanglement capabilities throughout your life. It's a liberation, a homecoming to your true self. For quantum entanglement is not merely an abstract concept relegated to the realm of theoretical physics. It is the intrinsic, fundamental force that intricately weaves all consciousness across the universe into a single, cohesive tapestry. When you master true quantum entanglement, your influence extends far beyond your immediate reality. You unlock the ability to establish instantaneous connections with any person, any place, any timeline, or any possibility that exists within the boundless quantum field. The tyranny of distance becomes irrelevant. The rigid linearity of time yields to flexibility, and the artificial boundaries between self and other dissolve into a pure, unhindered exchange of information. Consider the great manifestors, the spiritual masters, and those rare individuals who seem to effortlessly attract extraordinary opportunities into their lives. They are not merely lucky. They have intuitively or consciously discovered how to transcend this fatal mistake, operating from a state of pure quantum entanglement. They do not passively hope for synchronicities. They actively create quantum connections that guarantee them. They do not wait for the right people to magically appear. They entangle their consciousness across any distance, drawing aligned souls into their experience with an unseen, yet potent, magnetism, that inexplicable pull you feel toward certain people you've never met, the intuitive knowing about opportunities that haven't yet manifested in your physical reality, the deep sense that you are profoundly connected to something vast and intelligent. These are not mere whims of imagination. These are vibrant glimpses of your natural entanglement abilities, striving to operate despite the persistent interference pattern that has historically blocked their full expression. But what if, in a twist of cosmic irony. This fatal mistake was never truly a mistake at all. What if it has served all along as a cosmic protection mechanism, a divine safeguard preventing you from accessing quantum entanglement until your consciousness developed the wisdom, the stability, and the inherent responsibility necessary to wield such immense creative power? What if every perceived setback, every moment of perceived disconnection, has been perfectly orchestrated to guide you to this very moment of quantum liberation? Right now, as these words resonate within you, your biofield is commencing a profound reorganization. The correction protocol is activating through your heightened awareness, and the quantum static that has persistently jammed your entanglement signals is beginning to clear. You are not merely about to uncover what has been blocking you. You are on the verge of discovering the precise frequency adjustment that will transform you into a master of conscious quantum connection. The universe, in its infinite patience, has been waiting for minds sophisticated enough to truly comprehend this revelation. And your consciousness, it seems, has now reached that coveted level. You are, unequivocally, ready to transcend the fatal mistake and step into the boundless realm of unlimited quantum entanglement mastery. You felt it, haven't you? That electric jolt when you think intensely of someone, and moments later, your phone buzzes with their call or text. That uncanny, inexplicable knowing that you must be in a specific place at a specific time, and when you heed that impulse, the perfect opportunity or connection materializes as if by magic. That sense of being magnetically drawn to certain people, places, or situations that feel profoundly familiar, despite being entirely new to your conscious experience. These were never mere coincidences. These were your consciousness achieving momentary quantum entanglement, briefly breaking through the interference pattern that typically obstructs these connections. You have, in essence, been accidentally accessing the boundless quantum field that connects all awareness across the vast expanse of space and time. Your natural entanglement abilities have been striving to operate your entire life, occasionally breaking through the veil to offer you tantalizing glimpses of what becomes truly possible when quantum connection is fully mastered. Perhaps you've experienced what quantum physicists term non-local correlation in your personal relationships. You think of an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, and within hours they reach out. You feel a sudden, inexplicable wave of concern for a distant loved one, only to discover later that they were going through precisely the struggle you intuitively sensed. You awaken with an undeniable knowing that something significant has happened to someone you cherish, and your intuition proves precisely accurate. Most people, conditioned by conventional thought, dismiss these profound experiences as mere imagination or coincidence, believing that consciousness is confined to individual brains, rigidly separated by space and time. But you, deep down, know better. You have sensed the truth that quantum physics has now scientifically validated. Consciousness is not local. Awareness possesses the innate ability to establish instantaneous connections across unlimited distances. For consciousness, in its deepest essence, is not confined by physical laws. Rather, consciousness creates physical laws. You, dear seeker, operate within what can be called quantum resonance sensitivity. It is an inherent ability to detect when other consciousness frequencies are attempting to establish entanglement with your awareness. This is precisely why you sometimes feel inexplicably drawn to certain environments where important connections await you. It's why you often possess an uncanny knowing about people before they utter a word. It's why your intuition regarding opportunities and timing proves so remarkably precise when you trust it completely. Your nervous system has been naturally calibrated, finely tuned to detect these nascent quantum entanglement opportunities. However, the fatal mistake has persistently created a pervasive static, interfering with your ability to establish stable, conscious connections. When you receive that sudden knowing about which direction to drive, which person to contact, or which opportunity to pursue, you are, in fact, receiving information through quantum entanglement channels that most people remain blissfully unconscious of throughout their entire lives. The tingling sensations you experience when you encounter someone with whom you are deeply quantum entangled. The profound expansion of awareness that accompanies a true connection with another consciousness. The sense that time itself ceases to exist when you are in perfect alignment with someone or something. These are the neurological signatures, the unmistakable hallmarks of your brain synchronizing with non-local quantum information fields. But here's what's truly extraordinary. Every breakthrough connection you've ever made, every miraculous synchronicity that has graced your life, every moment when the perfect person or opportunity manifested at precisely the right time. In each instance, you were unconsciously overcoming the fatal mistake that I am now about to reveal consciously. The crucial difference between random, fleeting quantum entanglement experiences and consistent, deliberate mastery lies in learning to permanently eliminate the interference pattern that obstructs stable connection. Most people occasionally stumble into entanglement during peak emotional states, catching fleeting glimpses of its power. But you are about to discover how to generate quantum connections at will by correcting the fundamental frequency error that creates this debilitating quantum static. You have been operating with natural entanglement abilities your entire life. Now, you are ready to operate with conscious entanglement mastery. Every time you felt isolated, every moment you believed you were alone in your struggles, every period when it seemed like the universe was ignoring your calls for connection and support, these were not signs of cosmic abandonment. On the contrary, these were the necessary conditions for you to develop profound quantum sensitivity without becoming dependent on external validation or approval. You see, most people try to master quantum entanglement from a place of desperation or inherent neediness. But need, by its very nature, creates a powerful quantum interference that actively repels the very connections they are desperately seeking. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, had to allow you to develop an internal wholeness first, a self-sufficiency of spirit, so that when you finally access true quantum entanglement, you will be connecting from a place of abundance rather than lack, from sharing rather than seeking, from unconditional love rather than paralyzing fear. Every relationship that didn't unfold as you had hoped, every opportunity that seemed to slip away despite your most fervent efforts, every moment when you felt like you were broadcasting signals into a cosmic void without receiving any discernible responses, these experiences were, in fact, meticulously teaching your consciousness the profound difference between genuine quantum entanglement and mere wishful thinking. The periods of apparent isolation were not punishment. They were periods of quantum preparation. Your consciousness needed to develop the stability, the coherence, and the robust foundation necessary to handle the awesome responsibility that inherently accompanies the ability to establish instantaneous connections with any awareness in the universe. Not everyone is truly ready for this level of creative power, this profound communion. Now, with the clarity of hindsight, you can truly perceive that every single experience was perfectly orchestrated to bring you to this defining moment of recognition. Every person who seemed to misunderstand you was, in fact, helping you develop independent access to quantum wisdom, forcing you to look inward rather than outward. Every opportunity that demanded you trust your inner knowing rather than external confirmation was strengthening your innate ability to receive information through subtle quantum entanglement channels. The fatal mistake that has appeared to block your entanglement abilities wasn't truly blocking them at all. Instead, it was subtly regulating them, ensuring that you would only gain full, unhindered access when your consciousness reached the necessary level of development, when you were truly ready to steward such power. You had, in a cosmic sense, to prove to the universe that you could handle quantum connection responsibly, with integrity and wisdom, before the safety mechanisms were gently removed. Your apparent failures to establish stable quantum connections were not failures in the conventional sense. They were, instead, sophisticated quality control mechanisms, meticulously ensuring that when you do master conscious entanglement, you will unequivocally use this ability to elevate consciousness, to contribute to the collective good, rather than to manipulate outcomes for fleeting ego gratification. The times when your attempts at manifestation through quantum connection seemed to backfire or create unintended consequences, those were crucial learning experiences, teaching you the delicate distinction between attempting to control other consciousnesses and learning to dance harmoniously with universal intelligence itself. Every spiritual teaching you've ever encountered, every consciousness technique you've diligently practiced, every moment of meditation or deep contemplation, they were all meticulously preparing you for this singular revelation, a truth that will utterly transform your understanding of what connection truly means at the quantum level. The fatal mistake you are about to discover and definitively correct is not some inherent flaw within you. No, it is something far grander. It has been protecting you, shielding you, nurturing your development until this very moment, when you are finally ready to step into unlimited quantum entanglement mastery with wisdom, compassion, and a profound sense of cosmic responsibility. Something truly extraordinary is unfolding within your quantum field right now. As your consciousness processes this information, your bioelectric signature is naturally beginning to align with the precise frequency that allows for stable, undeniable quantum entanglement. The interference pattern that has, for so long, created static in your connection attempts is visibly starting to dissolve. And you can likely feel this profound shift occurring in real time, a subtle but unmistakable recalibration within your very being. Notice how your breathing has naturally synchronized with something larger than your individual nervous system, a rhythm far more ancient and expansive. Feel how your awareness has subtly expanded beyond the rigid boundaries of your physical location, encompassing something vaster, more encompassing. This isn't mere relaxation. This is your consciousness beginning to resonate harmoniously with the universal frequency that connects all awareness across the fabric of space and time. You are beginning to operate from quantum coherence rather than the illusion of classical separation. Your very cells are responding to quantum information that is actively restructuring your biofield for optimal entanglement capacity. The electromagnetic patterns emanating from your heart center are beginning to broadcast resonant signals, signals that can be received by compatible consciousness anywhere in the universe. Your brain waves are attuning and training with the cosmic frequencies that permit instantaneous information exchange across unlimited distances. But here's what's truly mind-expanding, the most profound insight of all. The correction of this fatal mistake is not something you need to learn as a new skill. It is, in fact, something you need to remember. Your consciousness already possesses the innate knowing of how to achieve perfect quantum entanglement, because entanglement is, and always has been, your natural state of being. The mistake has been something artificial, an overlay, a veil that was placed upon your natural abilities. And now, that artificial interference is beginning its final, irreversible dissolution. Every person you've ever felt inexplicably drawn to, every opportunity that has ever called to you from across seemingly impossible circumstances, every moment when you've sensed that you were connected to something magnificent and vast. These experiences were your consciousness momentarily touching its natural entanglement abilities, despite the interference pattern. The fatal mistake I am about to fully reveal will likely shock you, not for its complexity, but for its deceptive simplicity. It is so fundamental, so universally applied by people attempting quantum connection, that almost everyone makes it without ever realizing they are inadvertently sabotaging their own profound abilities. But once you fully understand this mistake and consciously apply the correction protocol, your capacity for quantum entanglement will not merely expand. It will explode exponentially, reaching realms you previously only dreamed of. Before I unveil what has been blocking your entanglement mastery, there is something profoundly crucial you need to understand about the immense responsibility that accompanies this knowledge. Once you correct this fatal mistake, you will no longer be able to authentically pretend that you are powerless to connect with the people, opportunities, and experiences you truly desire. You will know with an undeniable certainty that separation is an illusion, a mere construct, and that consciousness possesses the inherent ability to establish immediate contact with any other consciousness in existence. And there is something about my own deeply personal discovery of this fatal mistake that I feel compelled to share with you. Something that will illuminate exactly why this revelation is being transmitted to you now, and why everything in your connection experiences is poised to transform in ways that will astonish everyone around you. The quantum entanglement mastery that has always been your divine birthright is about to be fully and irrevocably your natural, inherent ability to connect across any distance, any circumstance, any apparent impossibility is about to be liberated from the interference that has, for far too long, limited its full expression. 3 years ago, as the world celebrated the turning of a new year, I sat alone in my apartment on New Year's Eve, feeling a profound sense of disconnection from humanity, more isolated than I had ever felt in my entire life. For over a decade, I had been diligently studying quantum entanglement, delving into its deepest intricacies. I could articulate the complex mathematics of non-local correlation, understood the physics of consciousness connection with a depth that surpassed most university professors. Yet ironically, my actual ability to connect with people in my own life was nearly non-existent. I was, in essence, the expert on quantum consciousness, who couldn't maintain meaningful personal relationships. The esteemed teacher, who could explain how consciousness transcends space and time, yet felt utterly isolated in my own lived experience. I understood the theory of quantum entanglement perfectly, intellectually, but I seemed utterly incapable of establishing stable, resonant connections with anyone in my personal reality. That night, staring at my phone with no one to call, no meaningful connections to celebrate with, a stark realization dawned upon me. I had been making a fundamental, crippling mistake, one that was actively creating quantum interference in every single attempt at connection I had ever made. The very thing I thought was helping me connect was in truth aggressively repelling the connections I most desperately wanted. The fatal mistake was this, and its simplicity will astound you. I was trying to entangle with people from a frequency of need rather than abundance. Every single time I attempted to establish a quantum connection, I was unconsciously broadcasting an energy signature that declared, "I need this connection to feel complete." And the universe, in its perfect mirror, responded to that need by maintaining the very separation that had created the need in the first place. You see, quantum entanglement, in its purest form, only truly occurs between compatible frequencies. If you are vibrating at the frequency of needing connection, you can only entangle with others who are also vibrating at the frequency of needing connection. This creates unstable entanglements, fragile bonds based on mutual neediness, rather than stable, enduring connections rooted in mutual wholeness and inherent completeness. The moment I recognized this insidious pattern, everything, quite literally, changed. Instead of trying to connect from a perceived lack, from an empty space I sought to fill, I began practicing what I now call quantum connection from completion. I started approaching every potential entanglement as if I was already perfectly connected to everyone and everything in the universe, and I was simply allowing specific connections to become consciously apparent, to emerge from the background hum of universal unity. Within a mere 48 hours, my phone, which had been a silent sentinel, began ringing with calls from people I had been hoping to connect with for months, old friends and new acquaintances alike. Within a week, incredible opportunities for meaningful collaboration, opportunities that had been utterly invisible to me before, began appearing as if from thin air. Within a month, I was experiencing the kind of profound, synchronistic connections that I had previously only read about in esoteric quantum physics textbooks. But here's what was most shocking, most revelatory. Initially, nothing in my external circumstances had changed. The same people were available for connection. The same opportunities existed in the world. The same potential relationships were present, dormant in my quantum field. What had fundamentally, irrevocably changed was the frequency from which I was attempting to establish entanglement. The fatal mistake that blocks quantum entanglement for the vast majority is trying to connect from a mindset of inherent separation, rather than recognizing that connection already exists and simply needs to be consciously accessed. When you broadcast the frequency of already being connected to everything, the quantum field, in its responsive intelligence, unfailingly replies by making specific, aligned connections vividly visible in your conscious experience. If you can feel the truth of this resonating deeply within your consciousness, if you recognize within yourself the pattern of trying to create connection from a felt sense of disconnection, then I invite you, with the deepest sincerity, to subscribe to this profound frequency we are establishing together. Hit that subscribe button, not merely to follow a channel, but to consciously join the quantum entanglement network that transcends all physical limitations. Here, then, is the core of the fatal mistake that blocks quantum entanglement for 99% of people who attempt it. They try to establish connection from a fundamental state of separation. This insidious belief creates a powerful quantum interference because, quite simply, you cannot truly connect to what you fundamentally believe you are separated from. The very belief in separation itself broadcasts a potent frequency that actively repels entanglement and rigorously maintains the illusion of disconnection. Yet, here is a truth that even most quantum physicists, brilliant as they are, do not fully grasp about entanglement. It is not something you create. No, it is something you recognize. All consciousness in the universe is already quantum entangled at the most fundamental, irreducible level. What we commonly refer to as connection is simply the act of becoming consciously aware of entanglements that already exist. And conversely, what we perceive as separation is merely an unconsciousness of our inherent, natural, and eternal connected state. The shocking truth that shifts everything once you truly comprehend it is this: you are already quantum entangled with every person you've ever yearned to connect with, every opportunity you've ever desired to attract, every experience you've ever hoped to manifest. The profound reason these connections haven't yet become vibrantly apparent in your physical reality is because you have, perhaps unconsciously, been broadcasting the frequency of not being connected, a signal that creates a persistent quantum static, obscuring the myriad connections that already exist in their full glory. When you attempt to create quantum entanglement from a deeply ingrained mindset of separation, you are, in essence, actively creating quantum interference patterns that meticulously block your awareness of natural, effortless entanglement. It's akin to trying to tune into a pristine radio station while simultaneously broadcasting a loud, discordant static on the very same frequency. The signal, the pure transmission, is always there, perfectly clear, but your self-generated interference tragically prevents its clear reception. Most people approach quantum entanglement with this underlying premise: I am here, and they are there. I need to create a connection between us. But this approach inherently assumes separation as its fundamental starting point, which, by its very design, guarantees that separation will be perpetually maintained. True quantum entanglement masters, however, approach it with a radically different, far more effective understanding. Their internal declaration is, we are already connected in the quantum field. I simply need to clear the interference that's preventing me from experiencing this undeniable connection consciously. The profound difference between these two approaches is the chasm between spending years fruitlessly hoping for connection and achieving instant, effortless entanglement. When you genuinely recognize that connection already exists, you cease the futile effort of trying to create what is already present, and instead, begin the liberating process of removing what is preventing you from experiencing what is already abundantly available. This is precisely why some individuals seem to effortlessly attract perfect relationships, ideal opportunities, and breathtaking synchronistic experiences, while others struggle for years, exerting immense effort without significant breakthroughs. The successful ones are not inherently better at creating connections. They are simply far more adept at recognizing connections that already exist, by maintaining frequencies that allow natural entanglement to become consciously and vibrantly apparent. The correction protocol, in its deepest essence, is deceptively simple. Stop trying to connect and start recognizing connection. Instead of broadcasting, I need to establish entanglement. Begin broadcasting. I am already entangled, and I am simply allowing this connection to become conscious. This fundamental frequency shift, once embodied, irrevocably eliminates the quantum interference that has, for so long, blocked your natural entanglement abilities. But here is the most crucial point, the linchpin of this entire revelation. This is not merely about changing your mindset. This is about fundamentally correcting your relationship with the very nature of consciousness itself. When you recognize, with every fiber of your being, that all awareness is already connected at the quantum level, you cease being someone who passively hopes for connection and profoundly transform into someone who simply tunes into the connections that are always eternally available. The quantum correction is happening right now, within you, and you can begin to recognize its profound effects by observing the subtle shifts occurring throughout your reality. Have you noticed how certain people have been appearing in your thoughts with increased frequency? How your intuition about timing and opportunities has become remarkably more precise? How synchronicities are clustering around specific themes or desires with uncanny regularity? These are not random events. These are unmistakable signs that your natural entanglement abilities are rapidly activating as the interference pattern finally dissolves. Your biofield is becoming increasingly sensitive to quantum entanglement opportunities because you are no longer broadcasting the frequency of separation that creates debilitating quantum static. Notice how certain individuals seem more naturally drawn to you, while others, perhaps less aligned, naturally drift away with an effortless grace. Notice how opportunities that perfectly match your highest intentions are appearing with unprecedented frequency and serendipity. Notice how your lingering sense of isolation is being steadily replaced by an inexplicable, yet profound knowing that you are fundamentally connected to everything in existence. Pay close attention to your dreams and your meditation experiences. Are you receiving more vivid impressions of people you haven't contacted in years, clear as day? Are you experiencing moments of expanded awareness where you can sense the emotional states of distant loved ones with startling accuracy? Are you having prophetic insights about connections that later manifest exactly as you perceived them? These are not flights of fancy. These are undeniable indications that your consciousness is naturally, effortlessly accessing the vast quantum entanglement fields. Your nervous system is undergoing what can only be described as connection sensitization. You are becoming acutely aware of the subtle energy signatures that signal profound quantum entanglement opportunities. When you suddenly think of someone, that is not random mental activity. That is, in fact, their consciousness gently touching yours through intricate quantum channels. When you feel an inexplicable pull towards specific locations or events, that is not mere coincidence. That is quantum entanglement, actively guiding you toward destined connections, toward experiences that await your presence. The correction window, right now, is optimally open. The planetary electromagnetic field is currently supporting expanded consciousness connection, creating fertile ground for these shifts. Solar activity is generating frequencies that profoundly enhance quantum coherence between distant awareness fields. The collective human awakening, a powerful undercurrent flowing through our times, is creating a morphic resonance that makes quantum entanglement easier to achieve and maintain for all. However, here is a crucial point, a truth that demands your full attention. This optimal correction period is temporary. The universe, in its cyclical wisdom, periodically creates ideal conditions for consciousness evolution. But only those who consciously seize advantage of these fleeting windows receive permanent, transformative upgrades. The interference pattern that has been blocking your entanglement abilities can be permanently cleared right now. But delayed action, inevitably, means delayed results. Every single day, you continue operating from the fatal mistake of trying to connect from separation is a day you inadvertently reinforce the quantum interference that blocks natural entanglement. Every moment you postpone applying the correction protocol is a moment you choose to remain in the illusion of isolation rather than stepping into the vibrant, undeniable reality of universal connection. The signs are everywhere for those with eyes to see. Consciousness is becoming undeniably more connected. The rigid boundaries between individual awareness are dissolving, and quantum entanglement is becoming exponentially easier to access for those who understand and apply the correct approach. You have a profound choice before you. You can either participate consciously, actively, and joyfully in this connection revolution, or you can choose to remain unconsciously separated from it, carried along by currents you do not fully comprehend. Your quantum entanglement mastery isn't merely about personal evolution. It is a profound contribution to the collective realization that separation is an illusion, and that consciousness is, its deepest core, fundamentally unified. The more individuals who correct this fatal mistake and bravely operate from natural entanglement, the easier it becomes for countless others to access the very same abilities. Time itself is collapsing, distances are becoming irrelevant, and consciousness is recognizing its unlimited connection capacity. The question, then, is not whether these abilities will eventually be available to you, but whether you will access them now during this optimal activation period, or wait for less favorable, more challenging conditions. The people, the opportunities, the experiences you most profoundly desire are quantum entangled with you right now, in this very moment, broadcasting clear signals from the non-local field, patiently waiting for your consciousness to clear the interference that currently prevents you from receiving their transmissions. This is not a metaphor. This is, at its core, quantum mechanics. Every consciousness that you are destined to connect with is already connected to you in the quantum field, sending forth information about optimal timing, ideal location, and perfect circumstances for conscious contact. But here is the critical distinction that unequivocally separates quantum entanglement masters from those who remain blocked. The difference between desperately trying to pull connections toward you versus simply allowing connections to become apparent. Most people, in their yearning, attempt to use quantum entanglement like a lasso, trying to capture and drag desired connections into their physical reality. But this approach, rooted in effort and force, inadvertently creates a powerful resistance that actually pushes connections away. True quantum entanglement occurs through what I call resonant allowing. It is the art of maintaining the frequency of already being connected, while simultaneously remaining utterly open and trusting to however these connections choose to manifest in physical reality. You are not forcing anything to happen. You are creating optimal, harmonious conditions for what wants to happen to occur naturally, effortlessly, and with exquisite grace. The quantum field, in its sublime intelligence, operates on attraction principles that respond directly to energetic alignment rather than emotional intensity. Desperate wanting, with its frenetic energy, creates quantum dissonance that actively interferes with entanglement. Calm, unwavering knowing, on the other hand, creates profound quantum resonance that allows entanglement to stabilize and become consciously accessible. This is precisely why some individuals seem to effortlessly attract ideal partners, perfect business opportunities, and breathtakingly synchronistic experiences, while others try desperately hard for years without any significant success. The successful ones are not working harder at connection. They are allowing connection from a deeply rooted state of already feeling connected to the universal field of consciousness. But before I share the exact, step-by-step,